It's the return of the prodigal son. It is Travis Waldstein, Air Serv Heating and Air Conditioning, Waldstein Plumbing with Circle of Trades. How you doing, sir? As we're recording this, it's the coldest week of winter, and it's a way for the HVAC guys to make some money, I would think.
HVAC guys, plumbers, I tell you, the plumbing boys have been busy, and the HVAC guys, busted pipes. You name it. And I've been in meetings all day, and it's just been chaos. So
yeah,
which I'm not complaining.
Right.
I'm not complaining at all. So it's like, that's a good problem. So
right. Exactly. And it's also a way to, in the dead of winter, there's a lot of construction groups that aren't busy.
Oh,
but
yes.
These two fields, you are busy. So it's kind of typically when they start to get busy, you're going to slow down, because when the weather is nice and people aren't turning their air conditioners on yet or anything like that, then things slow down.
Yeah, plumbing will probably be pretty busy next week, because what happens, everything warm up, the pipes that were frozen or haven't found out about, we'll find next week. And then, and then the other side of it is HVAC will probably slow down a little bit, but we're seeing some signs of stuff popping. I think it's going to be a case to where it's first quarter, for first 3 months of the year, and in the HVAC. So that's part of the reason we started the plumbing. It's just you'll have one good month and one bad month and one middle of the road month. So, and you just know it's like, get the April, and then, things seem to get better. So it's just, that's part of, and I think that's the way for a lot of contractors. It's like, get the March 1st. So, and everybody seems to be a lot happier. So,
well, for those who are just finding us on the Circle of Trades podcast, there's a reason you're just finding us, because we've actually gotten a little more deliberate about how we're getting this out there.
Yes, what novel thoughts. So.
Well, imagine that. So if it is your first time, welcome. Go back, watch some previous episodes. If you go back, you don't have to go back too far, and you can start just listening, because this podcast started as an audio-only podcast and went that way for a full year. Before switching over to video. However, it's there's a ton of great stuff out there. And, take a listen and take a watch and give us some feedback. That's what we need. We need to hear from you and things you want to see and hear about.
Yeah, we already know I got a face for radio. So, if that's what you're going to come and tell me, I already knew that. So, no, actually, we're excited. We got a Facebook page now. So, starting to see some traction with that, which also means we have an Instagram page. And there was something, I don't know what it was today, but it was rather interesting. I didn't really click on it. I've been busy, but, we're putting a more concerted effort out here. I know we have a list of guests that, we'd like to bring in and, let, me harass them, or, me harass you while we're talking to them, because I'm pretty good at that. So,
hey, I've got people that I'm already ready to go, ready to bring to you. All sorts of different lines of business and work, from, traditional construction to somebody that's a new client of mine that I think you're going to have a great time with. And he has a dog kennel, and actually the biggest one in Southwest Iowa. And he's doing everything just right. And I thought, well, he'd be a great guest on Circle of Trades. So,
I'm looking forward to it. We're getting a new background. I'm working on that as we speak, so that's going slower than seen. And I'm glad my heater decided to kick on today of all time. So that's fantastic. So, it's cold out, but I have a new backboard, and, now I've actually got this on a schedule. I'm not trying to do this at 8:00 at night when I'm dog tired, so now my Wednesdays is pretty much busy all day. Right. So, that's fantastic. So, looking forward to talking about Council Bluffs and the trades and kind of some stuff that's going on. So,
and really the original reason for launching this was in an effort to put a little more of a spotlight on just what the trades are and how young people, and let's be honest, it could be somebody straight out of high school. It could be somebody that left and had tried doing some different things, and maybe they're looking for a new type of career. This is a great way for somebody to, let's be honest, they can make a decent living and also get paid while they're training. And you can live while you're going through the training process. So there's so many different win-win scenarios all across the board here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got apprentices from 18, 19 to heck, we just hired a guy last week that's a drain cleaner, 41 years old, or a month ago. I should say we hired him a month ago. He's been great, but he doesn't know, he knows drain cleaning. He knows some about plumbing, but you don't have to be fresh out of high school. There's a lot of people that are getting to 25, 30 years old, and after they went and spent a lot of money in universities, and they go, well, got a degree, but then what am I supposed to do with it? And they go, hey, this sounds like a lot more fun, So, yeah, it's definitely it's. I'm not gonna say it's for everybody, but there's a lot more people that have opened their eyes up to it, especially with the economy and some of the stuff that's going on in our political world and just where the economy's been since. Well, you could probably argue since mid last year, even you can start to see some signs in July and August that economy is not great right now, and people are looking for places where they can have a secure future, and one thing about the trades, whether you're working for somebody else or heaven forbid you decide to put your own shingle out there, there's always if you believe in yourself and you want to work your tail off and you understand a little bit about business, absolutely, that is that's there's possibilities are endless. So
I do think this is definitely a field that you can say you get out of it what you put into it. And as you mentioned, how hard you want to work is how much is going to come back to you. And also, I mean, parts of this is still old school. There's still a time period, what you may call paying your dues or that kind of thing, where it's better to listen than give opinions, in the beginning. But at the same time, my dad was a carpenter for a long time, and I worked with him when I was a younger man. And I learned that, even going all the way down to the guys that are sweeping up on a construction site, that is critical. All of these different things work together in order to create these things or do maintenance on these things. So it's top to bottom, everything's needed.
Yep, I don't care if, like I say, if you're pushing the broom or mopping or waxing the floors at a facility to doing painting, which I know you did in a past life. Just keeping the sidewalks clean. I mean, somebody's got to do someone's got to do these jobs. And unfortunately, the last 30 years, the guys you saw 30 years that got into it seem like they're the same guys 30 years later that are doing it because we haven't had people come in and understand, these jobs are just as important as, being an accountant or doctor or lawyer. They're not always looked at like that, but but I think you have to be open to that conversation that they're very important. And, and I think we learned in COVID 2020, when they said there was no such thing as they said non-essential workers. Okay, well, I got news for you. I like to, I have a face for radio, but I like to keep my hair cut. I like to go out and eat. You can tell by my physique, I like to go out and eat. So, but to tell somebody that their job is, not important, that it's unnecessary. I mean, there, to somebody it is, to somebody it's a critical component. So, I hope we learn that lesson, but but that's why there's conversations like this. So.
Well, and I think that I think the most important lesson that we learned during that time, we learned it fairly quickly, is this economy is not built for a full stop.
No,
it's meant for flow. And it's revenue in, revenue out, things coming through, because as you talked about, as time goes by, things break down. That's just the nature of things. And to declare somebody non-essential, I have a brother that's a mechanic. He got a letter saying he was essential and had to keep going to work because he's a mechanic for the post office. Mm-hmm. And they felt the mail still being delivered that got put into that category.
Oh, absolutely.
But we're not built for that. And I don't know, we still haven't recovered.
Yeah. They haven't. It's kind of funny you brought up the mail. I watched something here a couple of weeks ago. It was, I don't remember, it was on Amazon or whatever, but they talked about mail in World War II. and how important mail was and how bad, they really had problems getting the mail over to Europe, and they thought, well, mail's not a priority. Well, if you're, in today's age, we have phones, we have tablets, we have all this other stuff. But back in World War II, heck, when I was in the Navy in the early 90s, we didn't have phones. We went and found a payphone, if we were in Hong Kong or Singapore, whatever, and spent $10 a minute to call home, if we wanted to talk to somebody. So don't realize how important that is getting the mail. If it's checks is important, if it's bills, well, don't really care about the bills part, but
unless you're the one sending them.
Yeah, unless you're the one sending them, you want to be paid. That's like really important to get it out. So yeah, you got to definitely be open to it. And here's the thing: that things are changing too. I mean, AI is AI is going to be the next computer. AI is changing everything, and people are going to lose their jobs. They said the same thing about computers. You know what? There's more jobs now because of computers and all the paper we weren't going to use than they would have if they'd not had computers. So what do you think eventually will happen with AI?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the future holds with that. I know that I use it, but I don't, it's not an employee. I don't use it as a replacement for somebody because, and I use a lot of like ChatGPT and things like that to get me to write me a script or something like that I need, but it's never complete when I get it.
Yeah.
I use it to get me unstuck. I have read articles that come from AI and they're written entirely by the computer, and there's something missing. It's like the human element is not there. So it doesn't really, it's like there's no heart to it. And you don't really feel a connection to the writer from it because the writer truly didn't exist. So it's not there yet, but there is a place for it. And I think that it's like I said, it does help me, but it's a tool. It's not something that I can depend on to take the place of an employee.
No, absolutely. You're 100% right. You're 100% right on that. So, no doubt about it. So, well, I don't really talk about my stuff, but what's going on in the world of Todd Studer and Los Hills Media? Since we're talking here, we haven't talked to anybody in a while. As I put on my Facebook, you're my sidekick / abusee. I'm the abuser in this relationship, I guess, which probably sounds terrible, but someone's got to do it, right?
Well, I launched obviously I launched a new web delivered morning show that is we started that 1st of October, and now as we're recording this, we're over halfway through February of the next year, and it's going pretty well. I think that it's still new. It's still a new way of doing things. But my approach to this is the same approach that I took to, doing radio in a small market, whatever small market that may be. I don't want to really point fingers here. But that's my approach because, and that's how I provide content for this. So it's about talking with local businesses, about talking with local nonprofits, and giving a voice to folks that, I've said to many people, folks in Nevada do not care about my show because there's nothing for them there.
Maybe in Nevada, Iowa, they might, but
in Nevada, yeah, but that's pronounced different. I did a was it volleyball there? I think I did volleyball there one time in Nevada, Iowa. But anyway, it's growing. The sponsor list is growing. Typically, when somebody's doing a podcast and they're trying to get it monetized, they're trying to do it off of views, off of clicks, off of all of that stuff, and trying to grow their subscriber list on YouTube up to the point where they can start getting fractions of a penny per 1,000 views or whatever it is. That's not my approach. This is the same as any other local programming, which, what I do in a different time would have been on a cable access channel, but now it's delivered over the internet. And I'm seeing other radio people doing this same thing. I'm finally starting to see folks from the radio industry get into the podcast world. And I've been waiting for this and waiting for them to realize that, it's the same skills, guys. It's all the stuff that you were doing before. It's a little different because, if I'm having some kind of block and I can't think about being entertaining, I could just hit a button and play another song. I can't do that now, but it's still talking into one of these things. And I'm seeing some good people and some good programming being delivered this way.
Well, it's control. Is you can create your own narrative, you can create your own deal. You're not restricted by something like an iHeart or whatever, whatever media, whatever station owns you. This is, well, you can't stay that because we're going to slap you and take your birthday away. Well, at the end of the day, you have control of what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. Now, not everything you're going to do on here is going to be your genre you might do on an AM or FM station. But as I've, for me personally, I have not listened to AM or FM. I will tell you, the last time I did, last fall, I went to listen to an Iowa game because I was in town and the Hawkeye app was having an issue. And I hopped onto a radio station that I was supposed to be marketing, and they were supposed to be doing 1 hour pregame of Iowa football, and they were playing Dave Wagner instead. And, I blew my top because I'm paying for that. And they said, well, this is part of the agreement. I said, well, you better go back and read exactly what you're supposed to be doing on this. And, it's stuff like that. I'm not saying that AM FM radio does not have a place, but it is not the power. It is not you're not getting your message out there like you used to. I mean, this is not Walter Cronkite. This is not this isn't Paul Harvey, although I love Paul Harvey, and he's been dead for a few years now, but
I'd still listen to him. Yeah, I get it.
Oh no, let's get out the rest of the story, So.
Well, the thing is that back when I first got started in radio, it was one of very few options when it came to marketing and when it came to entertainment. There wasn't really that much else out there. You didn't have things being delivered over the internet because the internet was so new, and you had to pay per minute to even be on the thing, and so radio was still very viable, and there was a reason why the emergency alert system still exists, but I think it's antiquated now. There's really no reason to be pushing things out over radio stations and television stations the way that they used to, because there's so many other options that people are using. One of the things that we are talking about doing, we haven't gotten to finalizing it yet, but we're looking at building an app, because that's how everybody gets their television now. Is through different apps. There's a few people still getting regular cable, but not like it was.
Well, don't worry. My wife wanted to watch a show the other night. It's on Paramount Plus with Showtime, so I had to spend an extra $5 a month. So my wife, and we haven't watched the show yet. So it's I had that for a while because they were running a special, and then I dropped it. And in order to keep it, they said, "Hey, are you willing to stick around for another 2 months if we give it to you for 99 cents a month?" Okay. Well, then I'll give for 30 days and I'll drop it. So
I got that, and it's the Paramount Plus, it's the Peacock, it's the Tubi. Believe it or not, I watched the Super Bowl on Tubi because it came in better than the local Fox station did.
Shocker.
So
tin can signal out there. Well, it's like Big Ten Plus. I watched Iowa wrestle on Sunday. Guess where it was? Big Ten Plus is on the app. Baseball, same thing. That's where a lot of these places are going, because there's a market for it. Now, the announcers you get are probably going to be horrible, but if you're there to just watch the game, you can do like I do. Find the app that's got the radio station that's got real play-by-play announcers, and then turn down the mic, and then you can sync it up with the radio with what's going on TV, and it works pretty well.
You can do that now when you're streaming that video. Before, when it was just regular television, it was a little maddening because the TV would be delayed somewhat. So we're watching an Iowa game, and I think Beth Mowins was calling the game, and we just couldn't take it.
God.
So we turned the sound down and turned on the radio. Well, now we're listening to Gary Dolphin about 2 seconds ahead of what we're seeing on the video, and being able to critique Gary. And there's times that there's times I really like the guy, and other times I'm thinking, people can see what you're seeing now. So
yeah, well, and that's just it. Well, it's just like, Friday Night Wrestling, Big T. They don't learn if you pause your video for about 8 seconds, you can time it up with. I could listen to the app KXIC Iowa City, and I can listen to Mark Ironside and Brian his sidekick, and I can listen to the home team play by play. And let me tell you, my wife thinks I'm freaking crazy, but I absolutely love it because I don't. Unless Shane Sparks, I do like Shane Sparks, but some of the guys they got for wrestling, it's terrible. But so
yeah, everything's changing, and I think that's the moral to the story here is that you have to adapt and adjust with the times.
Yes.
And this is, I talked with somebody in radio a couple of years ago, telling them about podcasting and how, look, you've got all the equipment already in there, and it's such a great additional revenue stream. And now we're just going to stay with what we know. And well, okay, I mean, I get it, but things are shifting, and you also have to shift the mentality a little bit at the same time as you do this. You cannot do things the old way, and it's why I'm better by myself. Without actually working for somebody else, and I don't have to convince them of this first. It's just a lot simpler this way.
For a second, I thought we were talking about your dating life, not your work life, but I guess they're kind of one and the same.
You're just brutal.
Hey, had to throw it in there somewhere. So, no, I mean, go back to the circle of trade stuff for a little bit. Though. No, I'm actually big excited. I've had more people ask me in the last 60 days, "Hey, I see you're doing this and doing that," and frankly, here's what happens. I get in the Iowa football season and with work and stuff, and I just say enough hours a day. But said if I'm going to do this, I got to consert the time and effort into it. I don't know if everyone loves my message, but they know there's a message out there to be had. It's getting people talking about what we do, no matter what it is, even if it's a guy in radio, or podcasting, it probably should be in radio. It's got a face for it. Or, someone like myself, who's got a face for, I don't know, you could say whatever, but to talk about trade stuff that's going on in the community, things that are happening. I think it's a new age, and like I said, let's have some fun and talk about it. So and that's kind of with where I'm at. So.
Well, in the community that we live in there's a lot of desire for growth here. I spoke with a president of a bank the other day that was just recently on my show, and we talked about growth and why it's needed here. We've kind of been stagnant for quite a while as far as population goes.
Very much.
And the problem with that is there is no treading water when it comes to that. You're either moving forward or you're moving backward.
Going up or you're going down.
Yeah, status quo just doesn't exist.
If you're doing this, then you start doing that.
Yeah,
so
and there's no way to stop it.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no way to stop it. So I see about new neighborhoods going in and housing starts, and there's so much that goes in with that. One of the things is we had somebody, you go back, I don't know when it was, we had somebody on from that was working at a water treatment plant here in town. So when you start adding to the population, that starts pushing more demand on that place. Is it capable of handling it? When you start putting in new neighborhoods that are going down 2-lane highways, and now you've got extra population out there, can it handle the traffic? We saw that. You have dealt with it, I'm sure, when that Hills of Cedar Creek neighborhood went in off of Highway 92. What did that do to traffic there?
It was terrible.
It was crazy there, in the mornings and in the evenings, which, by the way, timed with trying to get in and out of Lewis Central High School and the rest of the schools that are down there. So all of these things have to be taken into consideration. And, there's a lot of folks that are working on that, the city planners and everybody else that are involved with this that need to pay attention to what's going on to try to head off problems as all this is coming. So, but guys in your line of work, whether it be HVAC, whether it be plumbing, whether it be concrete, or whatever it is.
Construction, just whatever it is, stuff that makes the world go by. I mean, example, and I was telling you this a little bit ago, I live between Counts Plus and Trainer in the country, and they've been doing this fiber expansion. They're also adding water out here. I mean, these guys have been working day or night. My fiber, I've had line of sight, as I referred to it, tin can internet since I moved out here in 2007, and we've made it work. It's better than the satellite internet. I can tell you that. But we got fiber, and I'm going to tell you what, my fiber here is better than my T1 cable I got in town at my shop on Nebraska Avenue. And them guys were tail off. I talked to the guy yesterday. He's an outside construction guy. He likes to do the utility work and all the underground stuff that they do for outlaying these cables and fiber and all this stuff there. But, talking to him, he's from somewhere up in Minnesota, but he's been up and down here for doing it for 2 months while they're a little bit slow because you're not digging in January in Iowa or Minnesota where he's from. But, I'm going to tell you what, I'm very, very happy, and you talk about progression, you need guys like him, this guy was previously, he worked as a, down in Florida, working on a golf course, and he just decided the politics wasn't worth it. A guy talked to great guy, kind of game come out, they're with Western Iowa Networks, and I'm going to tell you what, if you're in rural county spots, you got access to get the fiber. I listen, it took me about 30 seconds to figure out this is definitely an upgrade from what I am. So, very happy with, and my other guy, well, their competition's coming in, so we're going to speed up the internet so you don't leave. It's like, really?
Yeah.
I heard that. And then I called him and told him yesterday, I said, well, we're done with your internet. Well, I just talked to you last week. I'm like, yeah, well, sorry. Happens. So,
and one of the things we had talked about too was being able to keep, the high school graduates, college graduates, keep them at home, keep them wanting to be here. And in order for that to happen, there has to be jobs. Yep. And that growth is where jobs come from, because as the population grows, then they need all of the services that go along with that, all the way from, additional schools to coffee shops to, we need another grocery store in an area that's got a higher population, all of these things. And then that's where the growth comes from. We haven't been seeing that in our area. It's just, as we said, it's just kind of been stagnant, and having folks in place that understand that and believe that is what can keep a place from drying up. You and I have talked about it before. The corner of the world that I grew up in Northwest Iowa it's fallen down because there's nobody left. And in your area, I think Spencer's doing pretty well.
It has. Well, I had a flood last summer.
Yeah,
but, that didn't help anything. But I live in two towns locally here. You look at Walnut, Iowa. And you look at Shelby, Iowa, and frankly, Minden, although a tornado hit it before it did it, they've had to go, Minden had rebuilt the town. I mean, Shelby, 20 years ago, they had foresight to feel like this town's going to die if we don't start making changes to the community. And now 20 years later, they've had Midwest Manufacturing / Menards out there. Conway, which I believe is CSX, whatever they're called now, is adding to their terminal. They're building houses in Shelby, Iowa for the first time in forever. You look at Walnut, had to do something for their downtown area years ago, and they've kept it up. The reason being is they want to keep the town alive. Unfortunately, if you want to keep your smaller towns alive, either you're a bedroom community, and I'm not knocking Trainer, but Trainer and Underwood are kind of bedroom communities, but they're growing, and if you're not growing, you have to do things to attract people to your town. If you're just in there, hey, come to XYZ town because we're XYZ town. Guess what? That's not going to cut it. You have to have reasons. People want to have, it's not always family where people want to move to, Carson, Iowa. Nothing against Carson, Iowa. It's a great community. But you have to have reasons that, people want to live there, settle down, roots. You have to have schools. You have to have activities, within reason of what you can do. So, But that's what makes it great. You have them opportunities, but, nothing was ever given to us for free. And if they say it's free, there's always a catch somewhere, in my opinion. So, understand the consequences with free, but, you just run with it. So,
well, and I think that we're getting there. And plus, I think that for our own community, the growth that's happening is being done right. We're seeing there's areas of town, and we're seeing that when the revitalization happens, that I take River's Edge as an example, and it's not. I think that they're struggling over there right now to get the tenants in, but you could take that area and drop it into any city in the country, and it would fit. So there just needs to be a little more aggressiveness as far as getting more businesses in there, I think. But a couple of old guys sitting around talking about things, we don't accomplish a whole lot.
But that's okay. But it's part of the growth. Listen, they talk about the train or the trolley, which I have my own opinion about. That is, I won't ride the trolley myself. But I mean, it's like, but then they talked about Dodge Park, and people were upset one way or the other on that. I said, listen, there's some metal art on 24th Street that I said I could take to Alders and probably get, or Lakeside Car Lake, probably get a couple bucks a pound for it. And every time I mention that, people look at me with the side look. I'm like, no, and I don't appreciate it as much as some others, but I'm not going to say the people that spent the money put it up were wrong. So,
well, that's what you're talking about, is going over the 24th Street Bridge over I-80, and it's kind of. You see people, if you just stand there and you look out as they're driving on the interstate, if they're an out-of-state plate, they're looking around like, what the heck is this? And then you got nothing until you get out to Kearney, and then you see that museum that goes over the interstate out there. So I don't know why, but...
Yeah, well, if I waited my entire life to come to Council Bluffs to see the 24th Street I-80 bridge in the Merle art, I'd probably be pretty disappointed in that life event. But hey, some people think it's great. It's just like the trolley. I think there's better ways to spend money, but there's people smarter than me. And by the way, I live in the county. I don't live in the city. So I have no vote or no say in this whole deal. I could just speak my 2 cents worth. So I just own a business and pay a lot of taxes in the county. So so you take the tax money that we spend and, do whatever you want to do with it. So, but I understand some of the reason behind it, but there's reason. There's people a lot smarter than me that plan this stuff 10, 20 years in advance. You take a look at the Mid-America Center where they built that building. There was nothing there. They thought it was going to be the gem. They were going to get them buildings filled out right there. But the Forks right next to it, they've had a hard time filling out. But then you look at Bass Pro, you look at the soccer facility, you look at the volleyball facility with wrestling and all that stuff. It's taking time, but if you go by there on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, them facilities are full. It's busy. There's a lot of stuff going on out there. So
and there's a lot of tournaments and things like that are bringing, whether it's a wrestling tournament or it could be there's a dance competition or cheerleading competition they have there. There are a lot of different. So it is getting some use, and that's a benefit to the businesses that are down there. There's a few restaurants down there now, and that's huge for them. But as you said, when they first built the thing, I think they were expecting something different, and I don't know the full story why it kind of went dormant for a while. But there's still things earmarked to go in there. But
it's one of them deals where it's a public money, private money, something they put together. It's like anything else. It's only going to be as good as how it was designed and how it was managed. It can be the best looking thing on earth, but if it's managed poorly, it's going to perform poorly. And unfortunately, you got to have both sides to it. And it's a learning curve like anything else. And when they built that, they would have loved to have it be instantly popular. But if you look at time, there's more stuff going on down there than there ever has. But it just took the right people in place to do it, and they have to run it like a business. They can't run it like a charity. But it's all part of what attracts people to Council Bluffs. It's like the Hunter Block. Why did they fix it? Why have they done the stuff on South Main Street? Well, you know what? People like to have a nice downtown. People like to have stuff like the Hunter Block. It's no different than Blackstone in Omaha or up in Benson. Those are areas where people want to go hang out. That's where a lot of the younger generation wants to do their thing. So you have to cater to them. And because frankly, I'm going to be 52 years old here in a couple of weeks. Guess what? They're already getting the nursing home ready for me. They're figuring that's my next step here at some point. It's not me they're going to be worried about, for all this stuff. It's all, it's the younger generation. Because guess what? They got a lot more. I might have more disposable income, but they're going to be the ones spend the money on the next 40 years that you have to keep your mind open to, what they want, because that's who's going to pay the bills going forward. So,
Well, as we've said, that this is a new push on Circle of Trades to get a little more publicity out for it and let you know that we're out here. And yeah, we definitely have a local flair to the show, I believe, but at the same time, it's more of a small town flair. And when I was talking with somebody else earlier, and we were talking about Council Bluffs, it's a town of just shy of 65,000 people, and it's a small town. Mm-hmm. I mean, it has the small town feel of a community of 4,000 or 5,000, but there's just a lot more people that live here.
Oh, absolutely.
But it still has that same mentality. So that's what this type of thing works for that. And if you are listening and you're in a small town, it doesn't matter. It could be in Iowa, it could be in Nebraska, it could be in Missouri. It's this same type of mentality, I believe, is the majority of us. Mm-hmm. Cities are more concentrated and they have more of a tight population, but the majority of the people are living the way that we are in smaller towns. Mm-hmm. Not saying one's better than the other. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying they're different. And in the town like Council Bluffs, or a town that you mentioned, Trainer or Underwood or Oakland or any of the other small communities, you have to do what you say, and you have to want to be there. Mm-hmm. I have found all across Southwest Iowa that the communities are welcoming. There are certain parts of the state that I've been to that it was like, okay, we'll let you here, but we'll let you stay here, but you're not one of us.
I know I get to do too, but both of them are Dutch communities. I'll just leave it at that. So.
Don't. I'm not going down that road. But
sorry.
That's not what my experience here has been. I have seen people move here and plug into the community, and were instantly a part of things. There wasn't a wait. There wasn't, well, you're on the outside. We'll let you hang around, but you're still, there was none of that. Yep. And most of the communities that we have are like that. So if moving in, because like I said, we want to see growth in Council Bluffs. We just got to get some more houses built. But that's what it's like here. And if you plug yourself in, get involved, join a service organization or whatever it might be, and, hang out with stuff. Even, like you and I are both members of the Council Bluffs Business Connection. Yeah. And that in itself, I look at really almost more of a service organization than even what it is, because I get so much more out of that than just, sending referrals back and forth.
Yeah. And I agree. Yeah. And I like to go ahead and stir the pot. I like to do business and stir the pot because that's what I'm good at. So I know that shocks everybody that knows me. So,
well, what we all love about you, Travis, is you're consistent. We never have to wonder, which Travis are we going to get today? No, we all know.
No, yeah, we all know. So no, you're 100% right at that. So
always willing to get any comments, or if you have any thing that you would like to see on this show, reach out. Would love to see it. Wherever you happen to be watching this, you can, or listening to it, you can leave comments and we're going to find them. So, because it's on a number of different platforms.
Yes. Yeah, go out to Facebook, go out to Instagram, it's YouTube, wherever we're sending this at. About the only thing we haven't got on is Apple. So maybe after we do this, maybe we'll get on Apple and we'll be Apple official and whatever. So no one's going to accuse me of being Elon Musk. So, I'm not from New Zealand or wherever he grew up. So
I don't have any idea where that guy grew up. I know he's, he moved here from somewhere, but where? I don't know.
Is he in New Zealand or South Africa? I would say it's New Zealand. So,
well, and Elon, he's kind of a big deal around here if you think about it. He started PayPal, and PayPal is huge out in West Omaha.
Yeah. So he started a lot of things. Right now, he's starting. A lot of people ain't really happy with that right now.
You talk about a guy stirring the pot more than you. I think that's him right now.
Yeah. Hey, listen, he's got a few billion more dollars than I do. Stirring the pot. I mean, so I mean, he's probably got more money in his bank account than the U.S. Treasury's got.
Man, that wouldn't surprise me.
No, that wouldn't surprise me either. So.
All right, Travis, thank you for your time. Always grateful, and looking forward to getting this thing cranking.
Yep, we'll see you next week there, Sunshine.